Namaste and a very good afternoon. Hearty welcome to all our participants joining the Nari Shakti webinar by NCWDC. Every auspicious occasion begins with lighting of the lamp, so please join us to light the lamp. The chairperson of NCWDC Education, Dr. Sujata Singhi, is an international educationist, speaker, trainer, and author of the international Amazon #1 bookseller, Power of Sound, titled as Boon to Mankind by our Honorary President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, in May 2017, during his tenure. Along with having topped in Masters in Business Administration, she has been conferred with 5 doctorates in the field of life skill education and NLP, sound and music therapies, holistic living, MERT, and spiritual sciences, and also honorary doctorate in humanities. These doctorates are by universities registered with HRD Ministry, Government of India, and recognized by the United Nations, and also awarded D.Lit in musical arts by university accredited and affiliated to Cambridge University, UK. Apart from being an accomplished author, Dr. Sujata Singhi is the founder of Divine Soul Sound and an expert in wellness. She is also a business spiritual coach who has won accolades in India and various other countries. She regularly conducts trainings on sound and music therapy, mental and emotional wellness, prosperity, NLP, Vedic business leadership, and has transformed and trained more than 3 lakh participants, including celebrities, corporates, bureaucrats, educationists, professionals, entrepreneurs, homemakers, and students across India and globally in the past 2 decades. Trainer to the IRS and IAS officers of India. She has been a speaker at Ministry of Culture, IGNCA Janpath, DRDO Bangalore, TIS, management colleges, universities, schools in India and other countries. Recipients of various national and international awards, the Nation Builder Award, Woman of the Year 2017 awardee. She is also the trainer in Vedic leadership for democratic governance for the youth politicians of India at the prestigious IIDL. Dr. Sujata is on a mission, joyous living, to help more than 1 million lives to live with their peak potentials and manifest the life of their dreams with Reclaim Their Riches. An upcoming book, Reclaim Your Riches, is launching in June 2021. Nominated for the Guinness World Record as an author and environmentalist in 2021-22, nominated for Nation Builders Award 2021, and nominated as one of the 99 most inspiring Women of India Award 2021. So now let's put our hands together to welcome an accomplished author, Dr. Sujata Singhi, the chairperson of NCWDC. Over to you, Dr. Sujata.
Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you who are present here today. It's indeed an honor to be with all of you, the esteemed speakers, the guests, and of course the hosts of this event. As a chairperson of the National Child and Women Development Council, let me share about what NCWDC does. It works on two pillars, empowering women and helping children. With regards to empowering women, it works on the four parameters which are most essential for the growth and development of any woman who needs to see her growth and development. It's with regards to health, education, legal rights, economic independence. Sustainable development of women is of utmost importance, and NCWDC works towards empowering women in all the sections with regards to health, economic independence, and legal rights. And that's exactly what our speakers are going to deliver their talk on. With regards to children, we work on health and nutrition, education, legal rights, and protection. So welcome to NCWDC Nari Shakti, the program curated to bring us together, empower us, and our guests who are going to share their knowledge and wisdom, empowering us further. So a warm welcome to all. Namaste. And we now begin our webinar with our speakers. We have Dr. Rita, who is now going to introduce Dr. Harish Shetty, the speaker of the event today, Mental Wellness for Women. So over to Dr. Rita.
Thank you, ma'am. Namaste. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm really privileged to introduce our first speaker in Nari Shakti. Dr. Harish Shetty is a practicing psychiatrist with a postgraduate degree in psychological medicine and a postgraduate diploma in comparative mythology from Bombay University. He completed his MBBS, DPM, and MD from TN Medical College and SET GS Medical College, respectively. He has been appointed as a member of National Testing Agency by the Union Cabinet on behalf of the HRD Ministry, as well as a consultant at the Sevadan De-Addiction Center and the National Addiction Research Center in 1989. Dr. Harish Shetty is working in the area of suicide prevention actively in schools and colleges, conducted a refresher course for school counselors between 2000 and 2005. Recently, he has located a wellness software course at IIT Dharwad for students. Dr. Shetty has also been identified as one of the 17 young mental health workers by the World Health Organization. He's a trainer, researcher, and an avid blogger. In addition to all his achievements and much more, he has founded Maitri, an organization that works with families affected by mental illness, which is the need of the hour during this pandemic. I, on behalf of NCWDC team, welcome Dr. Harish to our platform of Nari Shakti. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
There's something with the screen I can't share. I do not know why, but you just give me 1 minute and I'll try my best. Yeah.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to be invited here. Thank you, Sujata, and thank you, NCWDC. Well, I'm going to raise 5 issues which are extremely important in the context of the Indian women across the country. And this is an issue which we faced around the time of COVID. In spite of a lot of nudging, pleading, attempting to inform, attempting to empower, in many women's groups, shifting the martyr to the manager is extremely difficult. Across schools, with teachers, I somehow ask them to shift their power equation, shift their functionality, and shift their entire approach towards themselves and their families. And I said that do one thing, it's COVID and this is an opportunity. Every disaster is an opportunity. Never waste a crisis. It's accelerated learning. And then I said, why don't you sit down in a meeting in the morning and say that let us share the household activity across all family members. Many of them agreed. One group said, we tried, but there was a ruckus in the family and I had to go back to my old role. The second said, we tried, but there was so much happening inside the house that I was not very comfortable. And the third group said that I did it with a lot of opposition, but things are a little better now. In spite of all empowerment, in spite of all education, in spite of everything, a lot of women across the country, educated, illiterate, uneducated, and everybody still believe that they can do multiple roles as a woman. And in spite of the education may not lead to empowerment all the time. It remains as information in the brain. Accelerating this process of a woman from being a martyr to manager is extremely important. The reason being 3, a lot of women get depressed, have existential dilemmas, burnout, trying to be the best across all boards. Well, the unconscious desire is to be said that you are one of the best daughter-in-laws, you're the best wives, you're the best sister, and you're the best mother. It's impossible. And this journey from a martyr to a manager inside the family and inside across various domains is a very long one. Can we shorten it is something which is very important. Now, any attempts to shorten the distance would meet with a lot of blocks. How do we creatively negotiate? Because there's ample space at the top and there's simply a bottleneck. Here comes the beliefs of the Indian women. A lot of Indian women also, in spite of exhaustion, would want to see a smile on the face of the other. And here they need to actually get in touch with their feelings. And that is number 1, which means if I do not do my work excellently across all roles, I will be viewed as a bad woman. That's a belief, and that leads to sadness, low self-esteem, and doubts about our own personality, own nature, and persona. The second most important belief is that I should please everybody. That is very strong. And the third belief Indian women are bred with is do not hurt anybody. In the sense, आपने किसी का अच्छा नहीं किया तो बुरा मत करो. I think this is one of the biggest areas of work, and we need to find strategies, beliefs, NLP techniques also to break that entire barrier. And this, I think, is one of the most important things. After this, I find pyar ya padhai or pyar and padhai. When I talk to a lot of young girls in schools and colleges across the country, I had one in the morning with students from a university in Madhya Pradesh. A lot of exposure across the world has made having a boyfriend as an important source of self-esteem. In the sense, ninth में farewell party, if you do not go along with the boy, you are found, you're seen to be less than what the other girls are. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure for relationship. Having said this, there's a lot of debate and a narrative that a woman should choose a sexuality. Woman has the right to choose a partner at any age. But the point is, a lot of girls stop their career at a level because of trauma associated with relationships. When it happens at the age of 40, the damage is less. When it happens at the age of 16 to 18, the damage is huge. And when I do these workshops, children ask me, 16 to 18 or 14 to 20, what is wrong if you are in love? I said, nothing is wrong. But मैं कहता हूँ, वो प्यार क्या है जिससे पढ़ाई का त्याग करना पड़े? वो शादी क्या है जिससे सब्जेक्ट का त्याग करना पड़े, जिससे आपका करियर इंटरप्ट हो, जिससे आपकी शादी जल्दी हो जाएगी? And parents were very eager to get the girls married to a very respectable family find this as an excuse. तुमने प्यार भी नहीं किया, तुमने पढ़ाई भी नहीं किया, तुम उसके साथ भाग गई, अब तो ये सब बंद करो, अब शादी कर लो. Empowering women when they are in college, when they are in school, to understand that standing up on their feet is the first most prerequisite for safety, for a fulfilling life. In fact, it is so important for them to understand that fall in love with your career first, your education first. स्वयंवर हो जाएगा बाद में, लंबी लाइन लगेगी. But if you really are so preoccupied with your relationship, your concentration falls. And so many girls have one big problem there. And one of the most important issues at that age is, how do I look? Low self-worth because of their looks. मैं अच्छी नहीं दिखती हूँ, मैं सांवली हूँ, मेरा नाक ऐसा है. And one most important interventions we do in college is helping them accept their body exactly as it is. That stops three things. They will not fall in love with a jerk. They will not be susceptible to abuse, and they will also pursue their education as long as they can. Such a simple intervention at that age can cause empowerment across life. तो प्यार क्या है जिससे पढ़ाई का त्याग करना पड़े? वो शादी क्या है जिससे अपना सब्जेक्ट का त्याग करना पड़े? And what is very important is stand up till you are secure financially. See to it that financial security is also a great empowerment. And what is also important is that you negotiate your education and your career much before you get married. Well, I would like to show some facts. Just before the disaster, in the year 2019 December, the Ministry of Health and ICMR released some data that showed that 1 in 7 Indians are mentally ill. 20 crore Indians are mentally ill. And the international data by the World Health Organization says 4 out of 10 women who end their lives by suicide are Indian women. Can you believe this? If you look at the NCRB data, more girls end their lives than boys before the age of 18. More girls. 1 out of 3 of those who ended their lives had family problems, and family problems would mean impact on the women. Remember, impact on the women is very big. Now, when we look at all this, we only conclude that mental health awareness, emotional health awareness has to start right from the womb to the tomb. It cannot start at the 8th standard. You cannot have sex education in the 8th standard. Sex education is womb to tomb. It starts by caring, sharing, affection at a very early age. Empowering children by life skills, especially girls, is so important. And if you do that at the age of 40, they will not burn their candles from both sides. अपनी जिंदगी की मोमबत्ती दोनों बाजू से नहीं जलाएंगे, and that I think is so important. So this data points to the fact that we need to actually look at emotional health empowerment along with psychosocial empowerment at a very early age. I accept my body exactly as it is. My education is very important. I have power over my body, that I will prevent abuse. I'll prevent any form of abuse right in the family or outside. The fourth most important thing is money versus marriage. I think, well, in our workshops, we have been always saying two things. Paisa kamana important. Money is an emotion. Seventh emotion. Anger, sadness, joy, jealousy, fear, love, and money. Now, all that business of simple living and high thinking is all crap, all bull. And one education which we actually carry out is once you earn your salary, your salary is your salary. My father-in-law will invest it properly. No. Your husband may be the most loved man on the earth, but apna password apne paas, apna paisa apne paas. Why? After years of marriage, you don't have anything, and the husband says, I don't love you, you have nowhere to go. You are respected if you hold your money. You are treated like a doormat if you have samarpan ki bhavna in all areas of life. So money, holding money, investing money, saving money, in spite of being in a marriage, and owning it as yours is a sign of happiness, security, and future. Remember one thing, though it looks very capitalistic, very narrow, in our experience of managing so many divorces, we find that woman who said, मेरा पैसा मेरा अकाउंट तेरा अकाउंट, तुमने जो किया मुझे कोई चिंता नहीं, अपने बिजनेस में मेरा पैसा डाल दो. No, they go down the drain after some time, because love is all about birth, growth, and death. Any marriage, love or arranged, can break at any point of time. And if you look at the statistics in marriage courts, you will understand that this is absolutely right. Well, again, linking to the first point which I made, imperfection is very important for a woman. You should understand the context. I'm not saying that you should not be perfect in your work. You have to be perfect in your work. But we look at imperfection and perfection in the roles women play. In the sense, I have to be a perfect employee. I have to be a perfect housewife. I have to be a perfect mother, a perfect daughter-in-law. And if something goes wrong with my kids, I am blamed because I am not a good mother. The father is excused. And in this context, I would try and go back to the first point I made, martyr or manager. And that's where I will share, I'll complete that story. So a lot of women came and said, the husband ne pura pasara kar diya in the kitchen, and the kids tried to make the breakfast. There was a lot of chaos. I said, how did you feel? I said, looking at the chaos, I felt bad. But because I was resting and relaxed, I felt nice. I said, which was better? Resting and relaxed. But I can't see. I like my house to be perfect. Imperfection in these contexts is joy. An imperfect mother is a happy wife. An imperfect wife is a happy marriage. Because if I have to do as a woman everything very perfectly, my kitchen, my library, my bed, my sofa, no, you're not living in a house on a display mode. Metaphorically, you're living in a house that is in a living mode. Let women understand that imperfection is joy. Excellence should be the goal in individual areas of life, but to achieve excellence in all areas of life, in everything what they do, is something which is impossible. Having said this, I raised 5 issues, but I also want to end by saying that a lot of women's help-seeking behavior is very poor. In the sense, when they are bored, they are worse off than when they are depressed. It's difficult to treat boredom. It's easy to treat depression. And I would plead that It's so important for any woman from the age of 14 to 70 that is occupied meaningfully in some activities. Meaningful occupation is the root for feeling good. Meaningful occupation is a root for empowerment. And meaningful occupation, a meaningful vocation is a very powerful antidepressant. With this, I stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harish Shetty. Really a very insightful talk. You have very beautifully curated the talk in such a way that the most important aspects of life have been beautifully handled. Yes, joy of being imperfect has been a wonderful thought, and birth, growth, and death, and the journey being fueled with money. Yes, I think we all are taking back a lot. And thank you so much. Over to Dr. Rita to ask any questions being raised by our participants.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata. And I would like to thank Dr. Harish. It was so nice, briefly explained about Nari Shakti. Yes, you are an expert on suicide prevention. And there are so many students, as I am very much related to the educational institutions. There are things that which are related to love, which are related to relationship, which people do not understand very easily. And I'm also getting few questions. I think so. It was a brilliant talk. People say it's very good. There are some things related to our pandemic situation also. There are some people who say there are domestic violence, the students who approach me in person. So they say there are domestic violence at home. How do they take care of it? Because it is affecting their studies, it is affecting their relationship, the bond between the family, which is supposed to be done in this pandemic, is ruining their lives. It seems they don't want to stay at home. Can you please give some points, some comments on
Absolutely,
this?
absolutely. In fact, there are 3, 4 things. Number one is irritability and anger has started after the pandemic. Irritability and anger started after the pandemic. It was not there before. Remember, fear of the pandemic, which I have called fearodemic, if it's locked in the mind, it gets converted into irritability, or it can get converted into absolute numbness, and numbness can lead to apathy and more fear. So I still remember this family, the girl who said that my parents have become very irritable. I don't know, they push me and they really shout at me, and they really shout at me because they believe that I'm not attending my online classes. They've never been like this before. And she said, what should I do? And I said, take an appointment with them 2 days from now. I said, take an appointment. Don't go and just talk to them, because when you take an appointment, thought process starts in the pen. What is it? I think it's a love affair. She wants to come and share a love affair. I think there's something to do with the failure in exam. And they came and said, why don't you share this immediately? Appointment छोड़ दो. नहीं उन्होंने कहा नहीं 2 दिन के बाद मुझे appointment दो. And they said okay. And she fixed a time and she sat down with them and she looked into their eyes and said, Daddy, I found you very irritable, and Mummy, you too. Is there something you're very scared of? And straight away came the thought, we are scared of death in this pandemic. And when this fear, which is locked, is shared, anger and irritability can go down. That is number one. Number two, if there has been violence before the pandemic, and it is really increased because you're all together, you need to use wise counsel first. Number one, you need to use all the avenues available in your family. No shame at all. Kill shame, seek help. And when you use all the avenues in the family, whatever is available, because कहीं ना कहीं लोग झुकते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं चाचा, मामा, neighbor, uncle, samaj, building का secretary or whatever. Let us knock all the doors. And if that fails, knock the door of your teacher as a student. Principals are more powerful than MLAs and MPs of the area. Parents listen to the teachers and the principals much more than the MLAs and MPs. And if everything fails, call up the police. No harm at all, because police is also a brother, an elder brother, who regulates people's behavior. It's not a sign of shame. There is no stigma at all. And sometimes cops love to counsel parents because they have been seeing criminals all the time, and they sit down with the parents, they tell them, देखो भाई ऐसे मारपीट बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगी, आपको कुछ कोई तकलीफ है तो you can go to the counselor, and यदि ऐसे मारपीट चले तो मुझे एक्शन बिल्कुल लेना पड़ेगा, बेटा ऐसे कुछ हुआ तो मुझे जरूर फोन करना. Brings back the peace and forces the parents to find a resolution to the problem. And if that fails, there's a national council for women across all states and all and the country. And of course, your friends are some of the most beautiful counselors. But remember, when you're down, Don't fall in lava. When you're depressed, you hold the twig thinking that it's a branch. You hold the branch thinking that it's the bark of the tree, and you'll fall down. So take care of your mental health. Kill shame, seek help. खानदान की इज्जत मिट्टी में नहीं मिलेगी, खानदान भी मिट्टी में मिलती है बाद में. So that's how it should be. Thank you, Rita ji, for that beautiful question. You're mute. You're mute.
So sorry, this is one of the main reason it comes across.
Rita ji, I know, Rita.
So thank you so much for this wonderful explanation. I'm glad that there is another question which has been raised by one of our participants, like how to handle the situation when the woman herself doesn't wish to speak against the family who is torturing her.
Absolutely. From Nirupa Roy to Lalita Pawar is the journey, but you don't become Lalita Pawar. That's very important.
Yes, yes.
Is that if you're friends with her, it's very important to nudge enough that she starts speaking a word. Tell her and help her understand that victimhood is destruction, and if victimhood is re-emphasized, your children will also emulate you in later and be very vulnerable to abuse. And sometimes when you talk to women who are not willing to open their mouth, there are three reasons. One, they feel that it's a sense of shame for the entire family. Number two, is they believe that there's no support at all for them. And if they do that, they will have nowhere to go. The friends might come for a few days, but after that they'll be missing. And the third thing is that entire business of patriarchy, wherein saho, and the business of learned helplessness, which is a psychological consequence of abuse. Yahi sach hai. So I think as a friend, you have to nudge gently to a point and help her to take small steps. And as a friend, sometimes you might take charge of the woman. Take charge of the woman and not believe or not depend on her choice, and see to it that she is taken to a safe zone, and then counseling can be introduced to help her get more power, more energy, more empowerment, so that she redresses the issues in hand. So do not leave somebody alone, even if she is refusing. Don't say that, oh, kisi ki sunti nahi, humne kitne baar koshish ki, humne chhod diya. More koshish has to be done with these women and than those who are willing to come to the police station at one whistle.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harish. Yes, that is what NCWDC has come across, guided by Dr. Sujata here. And more women will be taken care as such. Like, I think so there is another question. If time permits, can we just go for it, Dr. Sujata?
I guess we don't have time for more questions. So we will definitely be having our speakers coming in, and we may share the questions with them and later on get the answers. Thank you so much, Dr. Harish Shetty. It is a pleasure having you here. And on that note, we would, on team NCWDC, we give our heartiest gratitude for your time and the knowledge shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
We have our next speaker coming in, and over to Advocate Sindhu.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor and privilege to introduce Dr. G Benkteshrov. Dr. G Benkteshrov is a senior advocate, Supreme Court of India, specializing in various branches of domestic and international law, and has been practicing in all courts of India as an independent senior counsel for 30 years. He has varied international qualifications, including LLD and DLIT from Commonwealth University and the London Graduate School, London University, respectively. He has been a Rhodes Ocean Scholar of 2004 and had done his postgraduate in Structuring and Financing of Foreign Investment, Georgetown University, USA, a fellow in Salzburg Global Seminar, Austria, in American Laws and Legal Institutions. He has appeared for the government in various high-profile matters like the Bhopal gas tragedy, the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji, and also he was a counsel for the former Prime Minister Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao. He has been an honorary professor and visiting faculty at eminent educational and professional institutions. He has been an office bearer, both elected and appointed, of organizations worldwide addressing UN organizations and conferences and many more, notably as the Vice President, Global Education Law Forum, Amsterdam, and the Vice President, World Peace Congress, Bangkok. Dr. G.V. Rao has been a recipient of numerous international and national awards like the Lex Falcon Global Award 2021 Dubai, the Pictet Global Influencer Award 2021, the Bharat Gaurav Award, the Protector of Democracy Award, the National Bar Award, and many more. He is a life member and former office bearer of the Indian Society of International Law, as well as the International Council of Jurists, London. A hearty welcome, Dr. G. Benkteshrov.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, all of you. It's a pleasure, Madam Sujata Singhi, Sindhu Suresh, the members of NCWDC, my fellow panelists, Dr. Shetty, Dr. Sagarika Bhatia, Ms. Umapati. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. My areas of law are varied, but I have had experience in women's legal issues because the National Commission for Women approached me a few years ago. So I was happy to extend my assistance and support. And I also did some work when I associated with the Indian Society of International Law relating to matrimonial issues between NRIs and Indian Indian couples, women married overseas and abandoned, children's issues, divorce, etc. So as a senior counsel in Supreme Court, we get exposed to a lot of these issues in different areas, but definitely, we gain experience because we offer our services at times, but definitely it may not be our principal area of work. I prepared a slideshow. It may be a little longish, but do tell me. I will request you to give me, permission to do screen share, perhaps, because it shows host has disabled screen sharing. So I will require that. Can somebody help me with that? My screen share. Have I got it now? No, it says disabled. Screen share is disabled. Can you please check anybody with this thing?
Yes, Joseph, please check into it. Please make Dr. Rao the co-host so he can share.
I did.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dr.
Just a moment. One second. You've given me screen share rights. Have you? Is it there?
Yes.
Yes. Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. What do I have to do? I have to do screen share, right? Yeah. That's it. Okay. Great.
Yep.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
We can. Great. That's fantastic. Okay. There you are. Right. I think. Yeah. Can you see my screen? All of you? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that's it. So we go to the next slide. Well, I have some quotes from, eminent women who have, Malala Yousafzai, as you all know, is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And she says, I rise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. So I guess it's a collective voice, like just you are the way you are working. And Malala Yousafzai is a great inspiration in women's rights and women's activities everywhere. So I suppose any event which celebrate women's rights must essentially talk about the inspiring figures, and you have Malala Yousafzai as one of those people, and she was a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Then we have the Susan B. Anthony, who's an American social reformer and a women's rights, and she says, the day will come when men will recognize women as their peers, not only at the fireside, but also at the Council of Nations. Then, and not only until then, will there be the perfect comradeship, the ideal union between sexes that shall result in the highest development of race. So therefore, the main issue is the equality of the sexes, and it has to be recognized. I went to a co-ed school. I do not recognize any disparity between men and women, and I think we should ensure that right from the educational institution level, this is engendered among the very young children from that age group. Then we have now women. As we can see, I don't have such a negative picture of women and their contribution. I think there have been judges, lawyers, bureaucrats. Everywhere I see women as leaders. We've had the Prime Minister who was a lady for about, I think, 13, 14 years. We've had many chief ministers, all of them call their shots. We have a finance minister, like some of those images shown. So I think in bureaucracy, in India, I think that they're everywhere. No doubt there are exceptions, and there is disparity because of the educational backwardness, but that's between men and women and women. So I don't say that, oh, they're just women who are backward, but then there are men also who are backward. So I think we must get our sights right when some people speak as if the women are the only ones who are backward. It's men also. So therefore, if we tackle that issue with that perspective, I think we will have a better perspectives. Of course, great women, some of these listed, Mother Teresa. We've had some Olympic gold medalists, Nobel Prize. Mother Teresa is treated as an Indian woman. Of course, she did great work. Sarojini Naidu, of course. Sarojini Naidu is one of the leading lights from the Independence Day. Arunima Sinha. Cornelia Sorabji was a barrister. Madam Fatima Bibi was our judge of the Supreme Court. We've had many other lady judges after her. And we've had politicians like, as I said, Mrs. Gandhi, Pratibha Patil, Sumitra Mahajan, Shakuntala Devi. I used to know Shakuntala Devi. She was a human computer. She's a brilliant lady. She was fastest. She was 6 seconds faster than the fastest computer in the world. Lata Mangeshkar ji, and from olden times, Rani Jhansi and Rani Lakshmi Bai are great sources of it. Now, coming to the rights, what do we have in the rights? We've listed them down. My junior in my office, Miss Namrata Mahapatra, did a lot of good work as I directed her, and we compiled all of these laws that are there. The Constitution, the basic document, it itself gives women the primacy of place. We will see the immoral. It used to be called the Suppression of Immoral Traffic Act, which is very important. We don't want women to be, in these trades. Dowry prohibition, indecent representation, very important. Commission of Sati, of course, that we have been able to do away with just because of this act. Protection of women, domestic violence, which was just spoken about, sexual harassment of women at workplace, criminal law amendments, the penal code, which gives the list of the penalties, the Indian Evidence Act, Muslim women protection. We need to deal with that a lot more. Information Technology Act. Now, the Constitution of India, we see directly the directive principles clearly says the Constitution must work toward the upliftment of the status of women and eradicate violence against women in the society. Part of the Constitution. Article 14 says that all persons, including women, are equal in the eyes of law and should be treated as equal. Now, these are constitutional provisions. They have great sanctity. They are like the Bible. They are like our Bhagavad Gita, and that's in the law. Everything is governed by law. If you see, all of these women's issues end up in courts, and men are, if there are problems with the men or anybody else, they go there. 15 says there shall be no discrimination against any citizen or women besides race, caste, sex, and other things. So they enjoy equal rights as per the Constitution. Article 16 says equality of opportunity. Yes, they must be paid the same. They must get the same thing. The question here is if one man and one woman of perhaps equal IQ level, or if the man is a lesser IQ level, the woman needs to get the job, or his competence or ability or performance. So therefore, it is, when we are talking about it, it's not just discrimination per se, but it should be the equality should be on the basis of equals. You can't compare unequals. Where there are equals, they must be treated equally. So equality in opportunity in matters of employment, and 19, freedom of association. Everything the Constitution says that women are equal. Article 21, right to life. Then 21A, I fought for this. I was a part of the right to education movement. And when become free and compulsory education from the age of 16 and 14 has become a part of the Constitution, and it is gradually getting implemented where children, both male and female, get. And therefore, that is Article 21A. 23, trafficking of women and forced labor. There's prevention, there's prohibition. 24 prohibits. Matters of faith. 25, there are similar rights. You know, the Sabrimala case was there are people who say, talk about it, but then, you know, it's a matter of faith. So it's gone to the larger bench. I've just spoken about it a little later. Then Article 39, equality of livelihood and equal pay. The very important thing, you know, which I try to underscore here is, by way of this particular presentation, is by law, Indian women have every right. It is only our institutions like organizations like yours which will go and propagate this, which will be enlightened by when we exchange our views, when I'm able to give you some you know, thing in black and white, and then you go and ensure that you know, this is disseminated right across the country to the lesser privileged sections of the society, etc. Then maternity relief, they need it. Women need it, of course, because they're childbearing. It's their job. Even children are these days, if there's a divorce, child custody is given to the women. Again, free and compulsory education, to renounce derogatory practices towards women. It's a part of the law that we have. Reservation for seats in panchayats. We have women's seats also included. You know, we have they fight shoulder to shoulder on everything, and where there are certain panchayats, etc., they must be given certain reservation for women. Now 30%, I think there should be reservation so that, you know, women are able to participate in the governance, etc. Now, Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, this is not a great livelihood. It is an illegal thing. The district magistrate police officer is empowered to go and raid a brothel, a place which is being used for any of these kind of things. So that's one. There's punishment under the Act, 2 to 5 years, rigorous imprisonment, 2,000 rupees fine, or 3 years of 3 years also, 2 years, 5 years. All these various punishments are there for immoral traffic. Dowry prohibition. We have seen last 2 decades, it has gone much down. Dowry is not that much of a serious. Everybody knows that people go to jail for this kind of thing. It is prevalent to some extent, but in a disguised fashion or something or the other. But it has gone drastically down, and there is fines, and you know, everybody. A lot of you always also know that that dowry prohibition and all. That is very great legislation. Great legislation for protecting women, fairer sex, gentle sex, required all protection, families require protection. Then indecent representation. Now, this is a big problem on the internet. Like Dr. Shetty was explaining, their relationship is there. Then usually we have seen that some of the boys or the males, they are miffed and they go ahead and try to distribute morphed versions or whatever. They try to bring the lady to disrepute. Now, this is very serious offense, and you can go to jail and you can be suffering imprisonment and fines. Then Sati, we have done again great legislation post-independence, great development towards that. Sati was prevalent. It was a great social evil which we have overcome. Domestic violence. Seriously, again, Dr. Shetty spoke of this. Domestic violence is a serious matter where women suffer. But then nowadays we have in almost all police stations, what is it called? Crime against women cell. You can go and complain there. They tackle it well. There are women police officers. Again, this is being handled quite well. Women police officers, and now a greater number of women police officers are being inducted to the police force to protect women from domestic violence. Sexual violence. This again another serious. I remember 2 decades ago when Vishakha, which is the judgment, I think some of you must be knowing, Vishakha Judgment was the original one, and thereafter there's this sexual harassment. Now we have committees in every corporate entity, We again, you could approach the crime against women cell or sexual harassment. This serious, it is being tackled, and it is available. And young women or anybody else who suffers from this can be helped by organizations like yours. National Commissioner for Women is doing a great job on that. And therefore the complaints committee, internal complaints committee is there in every corporate entity, every area. And women must be enlightened that they can go and approach, especially the sexual harassment is by the male towards women. And again, there's penalties and imprisonment, etc. for this. So therefore, these are cases I have seen that they're being tackled pretty well. They go to courts many times, but again, good legislation. Post Nirbhaya, we've had the Criminal Amendment Act, which sort of, says that you can have speedy justice, women's courts. Women, there's great amount of concern by the system, by the courts towards women's, either torture or rape or any of these sexual assault of any other kind. They're all treated in fast-paced manner, and the courts have become very sensitized. In fact, in Nirbhaya's case, I was there. I was invited by all television channels, some of them constantly. In fact, at 5 in the morning when they were sent to gallows, I was on television speaking about this. Therefore, it was, these are things that are, bringing our society and making it a better place. The penal code has various provisions. It has got about kidnapping, abduction, dowry death. All of this are mentioned. I think women should be told that they should approach the police if and when required, with the help and support of organizations like yours, in cases of serious offenses, where voyeurism or stalking or any other kind of this thing. I think you have a great role to play in dissemination of information of this kind to right across the society. And I'm glad you've taken this initiative where I'm able to present you with some of these things in order to Evidence Act. What should be the evidence? What should the Evidence Act, circumstantial evidence, even a little bit of education to women should be there. I think from school level, from the 10th standard onwards, some of these things should be incorporated into school curriculum so that young ladies are also sensitized about the fact that what they should keep their telephone chats and all these things where such situations are good. Our Evidence Act is very much in favor of protecting the rights of women. We've had the Muslim women's protection rights. This is now recently the legislature went, the Supreme Court itself also dealt with this talaq issue. I think, we have issues with the religion as it is practiced here, Islam, for instance, and the triple talaq is illegal. And even women's rights, the Muslim women themselves have come forward for their protection, despite that their law, personal law, may say something. But that's the beauty of our country, and that's what we should look at. That how do we become progressive right across the board for all religions, and especially this community, the minority community, where they are neglected and they tend to be in the hands of some hardliners. They should be helped by both within and without, in order that we have a society which is fair and just. Of course, religion is ancient, but religion also requires reform. Like we reformed Sati, we've had so many untouchabilities. We've also reformed the Hindus' religion. So now the Information Technology Act, because everything is on the internet and there is so much of exchange of data between young people. Dr. Shetty, of course, was spoke about that a lot. And sexually explicit material many times shared innocently, many times morphed, and all these things are all punishable. And the Information Technology Act has risen. Our legislature has done a great job in trying to make these things. Now, Vishakha Judgment, as I said, some important judgments which we've had, which has really paved the way of tackling sexual harassment at workplace, because women work, women are intelligent, they are capable. I would say they're far superior to men in every walk of our life, whether it's the bureaucracy, the judiciary, many times even in political arena, and they are a sobering force. And I think that the women in India have done extremely well, and they should do it even more. They should feel empowered. They should, stick together. They should spread the word amongst the less privileged communities. And Vishakha Judgment is the one that I spoke on television on the day when the judgment was delivered in around 97, 98 at that time. Since I've been an active practitioner of law at the Supreme Court, and there are guidelines for this. The Vishakha guidelines. You should have a specific, separate event to deal with this in detail about how the sexual harassment at workplace works. This is not the time, because I'm just giving you a broad overview. Again, this maintenance 125 CRPC post Shah Bano. Again, the law has changed, and now the Muslim women are also available for maintenance, because how will they live? If they are divorced at the drop of a hat, and that's something great which our legislature has done, and in the right and at the behest of the women, Muslim women themselves, who feel that this is wrong law, and they have protested, and our legislature has come to their rescue, and their maintenance issues are being tackled very well by the court, because now they are entitled to that. The Nirbhaya case is shocking, very sad, painful, but it has brought to light certain things about how quickly we must have women's offenses like this to be dealt with fast in courts, and that's what we're working towards that. We've had two other judgments, which were Vineet Sharma versus Rakesh Sharma, Vinita Sharma versus Rakesh Sharma, where the daughters, the court has spoken and said must get equal rights to the parental property. And that's very important that we recognize this fact, because we are not in Stone Age. Women contribute so much more. They have done so well in every walk of life, and the daughter is as good as her son these days, and therefore they must get the rights by law in this. Then the Secretary, this Defense Ministry case in Army. I've done also a few cases where the husband divorces the wife, but the Army Welfare and the Wives Association have come, and they have said that even though she is divorced, they should get all the benefits and perks that the husband should gets from the Army, use of canteen and so many other things. And the Army has recognized this fact, and this has also now been a part of the legal thing. We've a few other things, judgments which were right to residence, where separation is there. That's been recognized. Women continue to live in the same household, and even in Vanita's case, they have said that she must, in a shared home, get the residence in the husband's house till such time some alternative arrangements are made. Of course, Sabarimala I talked about. It is contentious, but women in Kerala themselves said that we do not want to go by this, and therefore, although the judgment is progressive in its thought, but perhaps not with respect to the faith that is practiced. So this can be an interesting example of progressive thinking on the part of the judiciary, but faith has a greater position. We have another case where, again, sexual harassment at workplace is an affront to women's fundamental right, and these are being held by the courts. We've also have some beneficial legislation for women, which are very, very important. Prohibition of child marriage. Of course, child marriage is it's there prevalent in rural areas. The Special Marriage Act we have because boys and girls, young men and women want to marry from different faiths. So Special Marriage Act was there. The Divorce Act, which recognizes many issues regarding dissolution of marriage, mutual consent, divorce by mutual consent, is very useful because these are times where people want to, separate quickly. They've made up their mind and they don't want to remain. And so the divorces must be faster as well, or restitution of conjugal rights and judicial separation. So the moment the legislature recognizes this by act of parliament, courts also give it more and more importance because of the legislation and the provisions available, and the court having the necessary provisions to deal with the maternity benefit. I think the women must get. I think Government of India is giving. Even private organizations must do. The moment there's an act there, they can go and tell their employers and say, look, I'm entitled to this right. This may not lead to many disputes, but the fact that there is a right, but there's a law gives them the right. Medical termination of pregnancy. Again, I've had some issues. I was an advisor to a magazine called Life Positive, which does spiritual matters. There was some advertisement regarding the pregnancy, whether you can determine the child male or female. Those people were put behind bars. They had to run around a long time. So nobody wants to play around with this, and no doctors are coming forward. Anybody who has a remotely, the complaints are made. Now the National Commission for Women, a great organization. As I told you at the beginning, they had approached me, and I've been there to find time to assist them. They're doing great work, and some of you must connect with the National Commission for Women. It's a umbrella body, and some very effective people are working on it. And I am aware of this because it's located in Delhi, and I advise them at times. Then equal remuneration we have spoken about. Some of the schemes that Government of India for benefit, Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Maitri Abhiyan, antenatal care, some of these things. I think again your organization can look into all of these yojanas and see how what can be what women folk can get. Poshan Abhiyan. This is also, I'm told, Prime Minister's this thing for Angadwadi workers and all to get smartphones, etc. PM Matru Vandana Yojana, compensation for wage loss, mothers getting compensation. Swachh Vidyalaya, task for female toilets. Swachha Vidyalaya, I don't know what Vidyalaya, maybe not the right word. I don't know, it looks odd. Anyway, so for female toilets, females need toilets, and I've been seeing, right, even in Noida, in Delhi, right across new toilets coming up. Once you have a scheme, the governments of this day will do it. Ujjwala Yojana for cylinders, etc. Pragati for scholarships, National Creche Scheme. These are all some things which you can always look into and spread the word among the women, the folk that you are trying to help. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. This is apparently 20.4 crore women have had accounts opened, a bank account, like he said. Dr. Shetty, that women must have their own money. If they don't have a bank account, where will they keep their money? Then Atal Pension Yojana for old ladies, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana for girl child education, gender champion schemes. All of these are there. You must look around. You must go and explore them. And cybercrime, of course, is there. We have spoken, and some menstrual hygiene issues, etc. Now, finally, what has the United Nations done? I just want to briefly touch upon this, and I'm concluding in the next slide. The Commission on the Status of Women is a high-powered UN organization. It also has a short name called UN Women. Now, UN Women is the body that really works very hard in trying to see how the women's rights are protected in every country. They do a monitoring. They have a whole system and scheme. Some of you, Madam Sujata Singhi has already had some connect with some UN thing. She can continue to look at them. This is a global champion for gender equality, working to develop and uphold standards and create an environment in which every woman and girl can exercise her human rights and live to fulfill their potential. We are trusted partners for advocates and decision makers. This is what their motto is, and UN Women is an organization dedicated to gender equality and empowerment of women, a global champion for women and girl education, etc. UN Women was established to accelerate the progress on meeting their goal. This is done by the UN General Assembly, which is the premier legislative body, deliberation body, and it functions with a multi-tier intergovernmental governance structure. And I'm sure organizations like yours will have a place and have a voice in their efforts. I would urge you to look at their activities and how they connect with the Indian government and how they further look at the organizations like yours, NGOs, which do good work. In Indian philosophy, I like to look at it. I like philosophy and history. Indian women have had a revered position. It's sad to see that we've not been able to bring that up, and right across the country, our rural areas suffer. We've had some instances of crime, but I don't say I am not a negative person in terms of, or a cynical person. I think the women are doing brilliantly well. They're getting every opportunity, but they must get it better. And they must, it must be understood by everybody. It must be spread. They must be enlightened. And I've just picked up the small paragraph. The Devi Sukta hymn of Rig Veda, a scripture of Hinduism, declares the feminine energy as the essence of the universe, the one who creates all matters and consciousness, the eternal and infinite, the metaphysical and empirical reality, the Brahman, the soul of everything. That's what they say. The woman is the soul of it. Woman is celebrated as the most powerful and empowering force in some of the Hindu Upanishads, Shastras and Puranas, particularly the Devi Upanishad, the Devi Mahatma and Devi Bhagavata Purana. And we worship women goddess. The goddess of education is Saraswati, and goddess of wealth is Lakshmi, and Durga and Kali and Bhav, who deal with power, and Parvati Devi, Lord Shiva's consort, which we worship, and in Ganesh Chaturthi day, they are also prevalent. Now, we do not remember the Nightingale of India so much. I find Sarojini Naidu, the National Women's Day is celebrated as her birth anniversary is celebrated on 13th February, National Women's Day. And she's a great, you must read some of her poetry, brilliant poetry she writes. She's a great nationalist, and poetry is something which may look, of course, she wrote in English prose, but I'm sure it can be translated. And she says the country's greatness lies in its undying ideals of love and sacrifice that inspire the mothers of the race. So women are the mothers of the race, and Sarojini Naidu, in whose honor we celebrate the International Women's Day, says that this is an occasion to remember her. I will conclude my presentation with her quotation, and as we lit the lamp before this thing, I hope all of this inspires us to move forward to do good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. It was really a very inspiring talk. You have touched not just the divinity of women through the Rigvedic hymns, but you have also opened up our own selves to understanding our fundamental rights, the rights of equality, and the great empowerment and security, which through the articles you have shared, which is in our legal system, which will surely help women feel more secured. Not just being secure, but also empowered to understand that they have an equal right. There is an openness, and there is a lot of safety measures taken in our judiciary system to help women grow and be in a state of a sustainable growth, not just for a day, but for many, many generations to come. Thank you so much. And your open support to NCWDC means a lot to us. So on behalf of my team and NCWDC, I would thank you from the bottom of the heart for having given such an insightful and empowering talk. Over to Advocate Sindhu to bring up the questions, if there are any, from our participants.
Thank you so much, Dr. Benkteshrov. It was such an inspiring talk. I don't think so we have any questions here, because yes. There is one question. How do we change the mindset of the uneducated public to go on producing girls till they have sons? That is a question which has come.
To go on producing, well, I think what has to be changed is that the girl is as good as the boy, instead of just doing that. I guess I think you should produce films. You know, the uneducated people, the best way of trying to reach them is through a film. Please work on those areas. I know the power of electronic media and a film, which can. I recently saw one of the films somewhere which showed something, I'm not able to remember, but it is a very powerful message that it gave. So that's the best way. It's not by talk, it is you create short films on each one of these issues, And that will probably help you more than anything else. That's my belief. And people like, Madam Sujata and Dr. Shetty and other people can help in trying to change their mind. Film is a good medium of dealing with it. I would say, of course, you can always have discussions with them after exposing them to something which is easily understandable. The important thing is to make them understand something in simple and easy manner, because they're not their exposure is not that much. But of course, these days they see other films on television and it's accessible. But the message has to be conveyed well. The power lies in conveying a message in simple terms and in an impactful manner to the rural folk. I think that's a better way of doing things. And some of these clips you can even share on WhatsApp, and they just keep going around, and you can educate them. That's my view.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. And we look forward to your association in future as well. We now have our third speaker coming up, and I would request Chetna to introduce our third speaker.
Thank you, Sujata, Dr. Sujata Singhi. So it's my honor and privilege, and I'm really humbled to introduce a dynamic woman who's inspirational, Ms. Kadambari Umapati. She's the founder of Women Entrepreneurship Development Organization. She strongly believes that financial empowerment for women would actually give her the freedom required to change anything that she wants and feel respected. She has rich networking experience and has been a part of various networking organizations. She went to IIM Bangalore to pursue her women entrepreneurship education after the commencement of her business journey. She runs a pan-India forum in the name of WEDO Work Peer, and WEDO works to ensure that a homemade business could be transferred into a brand and reach different cities from a comfort of their homes. Very impressed I was reading this, ma'am. Kadambari, ma'am, has been a speaker and a panelist at various forums. Her vision is to empower over 1 lakh of women to transform themselves into successful entrepreneurs and achieve their entrepreneurial dreams. Welcome, ma'am, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Chetna. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, everybody. And first of all, I should appreciate the efforts of Dr. Sujata Singh for putting up such a beautiful program. There's been a lot of goosebump moments during this entire session, right from Mr. Harish Shetty, who beautifully brought out every single mental issue that a woman goes through right from her teen until now. And it was so nice to have a man speaking about the mental wellness of a woman. So that was so inclusive. I'm a strong believer that women empowerment is not a gender specific one, but it's a very inclusive process. And Dr. G.V. Rao, I had to take so many photographs of your screen share, because I'm sure this is going to be a very, very, very important session for a lot of women out there. And you should probably do more of such sessions for us in future, because this was so empowering. Most of us, there were so many rights that I'm sure even for women like us who are out there, it's pretty much new. So that was very empowering. And Advocate Sindhu for beautifully introducing everybody and curating the whole thing right from the beginning, and Chetna to have introduced me. Thank you very much again. And finally, thank you, Rajeshwari Narang, to have introduced to me to these very empowering and lovely set of ladies. So can I share my screen now? Or can somebody share the screen? Should I share the screen? I have it ready, Sujata.
Yes, you can go ahead. You can share the screen from your end.
Okay, it's giving me disable.
So, Joseph, please make her the co-host.
Or in case you could share the screen for me, it should be still fine.
Vanishri, can you share her screen?
So after the mental,
Okay.
after the mental health and also knowing our legal rights, I'm a strong believer that financial freedom and financial empowerment is a base for everything, right from going against, when there is a problem which is happening with us in our own families, the confidence that we get, or probably the reason what stops us is because when we raise our voice, where do we go? Who's going to feed us? More importantly, our kids. That's the problem for every woman out there. And that is why most women just continue living their lives as it comes, and they do not want to take up a step. And likewise, most of their mental pressures are because they do not have the right to open and speak up to whatever they feel is right. Once again, they feel they are not the contributing member of the family, and hence they do not have the right to speak. So when a woman earns and has that financial freedom to herself, believe me, that I believe is the root cause for a lot of things. At least it starts with people start respecting her. Her own family members, whether her money is going to be used by the family or not, the way the family looks at her becomes different. So that is my session for today, and it's called Passion to Profit. Okay, can I share? I think I've got the sharing access. Let me just try it. All right, I think I've got it. So that's Passion to Profit, and I'm Kadambari Umapati. Chetna had beautifully explained my profile. And I'm today going to talk about this Passion to Profit, and why I've mentioned my company name here is because I want you to believe that whatever I say today is something that I have experienced, and I've been experiencing that with a lot of women out there in my forum. And I've consulted over 500 plus women. And after all these, I've found out that these are the most important things, which is very critical in a woman's growth. So We Do Women is our clan of members whom we call as We Do Women, who are a collective of homemakers, working women, and business women like many of you out here. So I want to introduce this concept called respectful disobedience. Am I visible, and is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So this respectful disobedience is a term which I think if I had about 20 years ago, I think I would have saved at least 15 years of my agony, which I used to go through in my mind. So this is nothing but a concept which I actually received from one of gurus, management gurus out here. It's called respectful disobedience. So what is this could be a question for all of us. So generally we women tend to do this. Whenever we want to do a course, or whenever we want to start a business, or whenever we want to decide to go somewhere for ourselves, we always look for approvals from outside. We may probably, if you want to talk to your husband, you will wait for his approval. If your parents are very important to you, you may go in for approvals to them. And in case even if they say a yes, sometimes probably you yourself believe that they are not 100% convinced. Assume that they come up and say, take care, I'm not too sure, but just be warned. Do not just do anything randomly, but ensure that you're safe and you don't get into trouble. That is more than enough for all of us to just drop the idea and keep bothering everybody else for the rest of our life by telling them that they were the reason for stopping whatever we wanted to chase. There are so many women who I've come across who are in their late 50s, late 60s, and even 70s, who most of them keep telling me, I would have done that if at all this man had left me to do it. But this respectful disobedience saves a lot of regrets for you as well as your family members. So this is very simple. When I wanted to go and pursue my education from IIM Bangalore, especially the women entrepreneurship thing, I was very adamant that I was going to go because we were already running a business. I was running my husband's photography business. And this is going to be quite some time that I'm going to be off home and probably off business, because when I want to concentrate in my studies, I cannot concentrate in this business. And the business was built and it was not required. My presence was not really required. But then my husband didn't want me to go for it because he wanted me to be here to replace him at work here. But then this respectful disobedience was the one which helped me go and pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. It's very simple. Whenever your choices that you make, you feel are right, it's ethical, and you badly need it, no matter how much your loved ones don't support it, they may not object it, they may not support it, right? So when they don't support it, you will have to say to yourself and to them that I love you, I respect you, but I choose to disobey you, and I want to go ahead and try this for myself. This respectful disobedience will definitely, initially, when they may say, you're bad, Mr. Harish put it so well. Women always want to be in the good books. If you don't listen to people, you are not a good woman. That's kind of mental makeup that we all have, which is actually not true. So this respectful disobedience actually made me take that first step towards liberating myself, not even liberating myself, just respecting my own self for things that really mattered to me. And believe me, when I started respecting myself, my family automatically followed. This may not be the case if I had failed in my journey, but whenever you take up this respectful disobedience, remember one thing, anything for that matter, you should be willing to face the consequences. If it turns good, people will certainly, come there, appreciate you. If it fails, they will obviously point fingers, but you're going to be prepared for it when you take up this respectful disobedience. Only thing that I would say is sometimes it's better to try than to regret it for the entire life. That's my important point, which I felt could liberate or could really liberate yourself from your own self. This respectful disobedience, try it. It helped me. See if it helps you. The next most important concept, which I've seen among women, and I'm sure many of you might accept this, it's the mindset. The problem is not anywhere else. It's with our mindset. I'm sure many of you know about the story of temple elephants. When you go to a temple, you will see, I'm not sure how many of you in North India, I see a lot of North Indians also. In temples, I don't know if you've seen elephants, but then in South Indian temples, there are elephants in a couple of temples out here. So these elephants, if you see, they are fully grown elephants, but you can see them, they won't stand still. They'll keep walking up and going back. They'll put two steps up and they'll come back. They'll go in front and keep coming back. They'll keep repeating this moment constantly. And you will be able to see one chain, probably for an elephant's weight, it's absolutely, it's a very negligible small iron chain, which will be tied to the elephant's leg, and the other end will be let loose. It will not be tied to anything at all. But this elephant will keep going forward and keep coming back. So what is this is because when this elephant, how they train the elephant is when the elephant was a little one, they used to tie the elephant to a very strong, tree or a rod or whatever, and they will ensure that each time it runs, it comes back. The length of the rod chain actually pulls it back. So it's been habituated and conditioned in such a way that its mindset believes that it cannot go the third step after the second step, and that's all its limit. And once its mindset is conditioned, later when the elephant actually goes to the temple or anywhere, the trainer does not even have to tie it. It believes that it cannot go, and only the elephant is so conditioned in its mind that it does not know that if it keeps that third step, it will be able to move away, and it can find its own path. This is what happens with most of us women out here. The mindset that even if our families, if your mindset has changed, if your mindset is evolving, your family's mindset is also evolving, but your mindset about them is not changing. And your own mindset about this is your limit is so high. So take the third step and keep, and then you will know how liberated or you are actually not chained. So that's one most important thing which I've observed with many of them. This could be even if you've started businesses. It's the mindset that women businesses can go only this far. Predominantly, many of them have this. So that's about the mindset part. And then when I started my business, I was into recruitment and training, my first business, which was a very successful business as far as finances were concerned. But due to partnership incompatibility, we had to close down the company. Too much of pressure. So I did not really like being pressure. But then when I started doing what I doing, that's when realizing the power of being in the place that we love to be. So this concept, am I audible to all of you? I'm sorry. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So this concept of ikigai, it's a Japanese lifestyle concept, which I thought could help you all. And with just one more slide, I'm going to finish my presentation. But this ikigai is something which makes me aim bigger and makes every day meaningful for me. So this ikigai is basically a concept where you're able to see this passion here. So passion, many women actually start businesses with just passion. And it's, if you see, predominantly passion is a word which female entrepreneurs will be using more often than a male entrepreneur. So this passion is nothing but what you're good at and what you love doing. Probably there is no money in it. Sometimes, not all, but there is no money in it. Profession is something that you are good at and what you're paid for, but maybe you don't love what you're doing. That is why most of the times people who work and who are in 5-figure salaries are not satisfied and put their papers and come back to, starting their own businesses and starting from scratch. That's because if you don't love something, you cannot stay in it for too long. Vocation is something where the world needs and you're paid for. So many government officials or bureaucrats get caught in this vocation space, and the mission is what you love and what the world needs. It's like the social service, social entrepreneur types, but at one point in time they will totally vanish because they won't have money to survive. But ikigai is the one where your passion, your profession, your vocation, and your mission, that is the one you love and the one you're good at and what you're paid for and what the world needs. If all of this is something which you can find as a purpose and your business, ensure that you will never have to work another day. So choose such a profession so that you're happy, your work life is happier, and that will resonate on your family life. And finally, This is exclusively for women. With women, I've noted these 5 most important things, which is very, very, very critical for women to empower herself financially, especially if she wants to choose an entrepreneurial journey. Dive in first. Women are perfectionists. We sit and plan a lot and we want things to be perfect. But the first step comes in making the start, and you can figure it out on the way. Make the basic right and just basic plan right as to what you want to do and jump into it. If you keep planning and looking for the right time, you will never be able to do it and you will only see the time going. And then ensure that you have a good support system around you. You will have to have a support system around you, which is your lawyer, which is your auditor, and which is your consultant if you're starting a business, a mentor, so that you are able to get the right advice from people who already crossed that path. A network. Today here, this is a network of women who are willing to support each other. Be a part of networks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sujata ji.
Thank you so much. And it was really a pleasure listening to you. Yes, women empowerment only happens when they join together. It is not an act of one. There has to be a lot of hands coming together, empowering each other and seeing the growth beyond. Thank you so much for the wonderful, insightful, and also a very motivational talk for women to get empowered economically. Thank you so much for joining the forum. I would now like to take the pleasure to thank all 3 speakers. You have been wonderful. It has been, time has just passed through. We have not realized the time. And it has been so insightful, I'm sure. When we look at women empowerment, it is not just with regards to their economic empowerment or their legal empowerment or their mental empowerment. It's all together which makes a woman empowered. And together, we can all make it. NCWDC is a forum where we are looking at bringing more women on board and men as well to help us guide, support, and also lead us on the right path to make this world a better place for women and help them reclaim their Nari Shakti. As the name has already been put up, Nari Shakti is something which has been profound throughout our Vedic times. And it's only time now to awaken to it. So through NCWDC and the efforts we put together, I see it going a long way. This is the first program we have organized under my chairmanship, and I look forward to many more. Thank you so much, Dr. Shetty. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. And thank you, Kadambari, for giving your valuable time and the most impactful and enlightening talk. Thank you so much once again. On myself and my team, all of us here, thank all the 3 speakers. We have our team who has worked together. As you can see, it's Advocate Sindhu, Rajeshwari, Dolly, Harshita, Vanishri, Ranjana, Chetna, Bhakti, Rita, Sagarika, and me, Dr. Sujata. So we have come together, and this program has been made possible due to the efforts of the team. Thank you so much, team, for being together. A special thanks to our moderators per speaker, that's Sagarika, Rita, Advocate Sindhu, and Chetna, for having moderated for the speakers. Thank you. And special thanks to Harshita and Vanashri, the 2 pillars who have been working on the back end to see that the flow of the event goes smoothly. Thank you so much, Harshita and Vanashri. And we also would like to give special thanks to Jainam Singhi for the music which was produced, composed specially for NCWDC, which we heard when the initial slide was put in. So he's a young lad, age 22, who composes music and also a Guinness World Record holder, Joseph D'Souza, who is handling all our work with regards to having this program going live, as well as enabling us to see that the flow goes smoothly. Thank you so much, Joseph. Though you are in Singapore, you are doing a wonderful job for us, and we, all of us, thank you once again. Thank you all. Stay safe, stay healthy. Namaste from Team NCWDC. Thanking you on behalf of NCWDC is Dr. Sujata Singhi here, signing off. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.